Roblox Horror, Dads in Space, Coming Back Home game, Steam Deck update, which I am very curious about. Will he, won't he? God, we should take a poll of the listeners about where they think you're going to fall.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Man, I'm
I
getting
force my hand either way too.
Yeah, it's binding. It's a legally binding contract for you.
That's right.
Darn, man, I was got some of the jitters on as soon as we started as well. Cannot have another audible because of bad internet.
Jittered?
Yeah, just your video, but I think it's probably my side because I'm the one who's been having trouble with this.
Make sure this is all off.
No,
Yeah, it should be good.
I thought my resolution was bad, but all right. Let's see. Let's roll the dice. Got to get it done tonight. So, yes, no, it's lags.
What?
Not sure why. At least from what I'm seeing. Okay, now me. Am I lagging? Am I lagging at all? No. I'm rock solid. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not the issue, Jeff.
Could be me. I don't know. This is different. Weird.
Been dipping into too many pumpkin beers. You're so blurry. All right, let's get this thing on the road. Okay. We are live. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
The weather starts to cool. If you sniff on the breeze, you might notice just the most subtle hint of autumn as the summer comes to a close and we sneak off into the fall. And accordingly, we also sunset one of our favorite traditions. The summer of beer comes to a close. To everybody listening, thank you so much for the suggestions this year. It was awesome to hear back from you and get your recommendations. Great to see other gaming dads partaking in a brew from time to time. But you'll also notice on that fall breeze a hint of pumpkin and perhaps a bit of nutmeg.
A little spice.
And I think the tradition within the tradition, as established last episode, is we're going to end it on a pumpkin beer note.
Yeah.
Because they start to show up in the beer store. It is a weird trend. It's not been some of the worst beers we've ever had. I will say it's like the least batting average. It's the worst batting average of beers, right, that we've had.
Yeah, I think the odds are stacked against you on these ones. Like, why couldn't we pick like another fall fruit, like an apple or something? Or
don't tempt me. You want to do apple beer? Like what else would you possibly do? I saw chocolate marshmallow. I saw a s'more porter.
See, okay.
But as a porter, that kind of makes sense, and it also feels like you could do that anytime.
That's true.
Like, so fall, it would be cider or apple, like you said, apple pie, perhaps.
Like a dessert beer, yeah.
I suppose. A pumpkin beer is what we landed on. Tradition continues.
Yes.
And we both have pumpkin beers, which we're braving tonight to see how we get to. If you do have a pumpkin beer that you like that we should try, reach out to our website, newdadgaming.com or at newdadgaming. Jeff, hit me. What is your pumpkin beer you're dipping into?
I am going to open, live on the air, Theater of Madness by Flying Monkeys. And it's a pumpkin beer with a 6% alcohol percentage in there.
Of course.
And it has notes of cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, and all orchestrated with a creamy dollop of lactose. And the depth of this haunting lager performance has captivated our brew house.
It's not more milk. It's not more cream. It's lactose.
It's lactose with pureed pumpkin.
That's just like if for the people who are specifically allergic to lactose. Congratulations, you are forbidden from this beer. All right, give us a crack.
Okay. I cracked off. I didn't want the crack to go in the audio, so.
No, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Theater of the mind.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Well, if I could describe Jeff's face right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is contorted painfully.
I don't know what it is about pumpkin beers, and we were talking about this on the pre-show. They don't get cold enough. This still is not cold. It's been in the fridge forever, so I don't know. If you like pumpkin, you'll like this one. If you don't, you won't.
All right, let
what
me
about you over there?
Let me end it out for the year. So this one, I couldn't believe it. This is, maybe you can't find this beer, but this is, imagine a brewery you love and adore, and you walk through the beer store and you're like, no, et tu Brute? Not
Oh,
you
no.
too. Just like,
What?
have you fallen? So this is a favorite brewery of mine from the Niagara region. Niagara Falls up here in Canada, Oast House. Oast House, which they have this barn lager that I just adore. Now they've released this one, Oast House Country Bumpkin Spiced Harvest Ale. A cozy fall ale made with a mishmash of house roasted pumpkin, butternut, acorn, and Hubbard squash puree from Howell Farms. This extra process of caramelizing, along with traditional pie spices, leads a unique character, body, and depth of flavor.
Wow.
Well,
Good luck on that one.
Well, I love Oast House. I trust them. So, like, I literally in the same breath bought 2 of the other beers. Because I do like, it's like, oh, there's more Oast House. I like these guys. Let's
Just
try
to
this.
chase this one. Oh,
that's
they're
not
good about it. Processing.
Yeah, that is so subtle. They did it. All right, they did it. This is good.
Wow. Okay,
this is
we got a
fine.
winner.
I would not. Man, that is wow. That is so interesting. The funny thing about this particular beer is even the Oast House beer that I like, the one that I'm sorry, I'm trying to describe it, and Jeff, in good faith, is continuing to drink, and every time his face just. It's worse than a tearjerker. Like, it just contorts.
Yeah.
It's hard to concentrate.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. What I loved about this beer is, like, you would drink it and you would get all the profiles of a very indie, uncouth kind of hop profile, where it's going to skyrocket. But the normal Oat House stuff, but then it tapers off, it drops off a cliff in the most interesting way. So it's delicious and interesting. They've done the same darn thing. You take it, it's a great beer, and all of a sudden, just at the very end, like, pumpkin.
It's a little pumpkin. A little whisper.
Squash. As it goes off in the distance. So, hey, not bad.
Okay.
I'm pleased. Very good. Last beer, good. That's an excellent note. Last beer of the season happens to be a joyous surprise. So, again, new dads, thank you so much for the recommendations and cheersing along with us. We'll give you one final cheers to end off the season and see you next year. Chink. Now, on to bigger, better things. The big thank you, speaking of our listeners, congratulations to the Plitch winners.
Yes.
So, for the very first time, we got to have a giveaway with the lovely folks over at Plitch, which is a modern day game genie for improving or playing the games the way you want to. It doesn't let you cheat online, which is the best thing that I absolutely loved about them. So you can't just go into God mode of Call of Duty and ruin people's games. It's more about if a guy like me wants to play offline with Elden Ring, I can play it and have a great time. So they gave us 5 codes to give away. We announced it on our Twitter to all the winners. Some really great, happy people around that. Some people loving the software, using it. But we wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for Plitch for sponsoring. It was really really fun to work with you guys. Great interview. And thanks so much for the listeners. Thanks for entering, and congrats to the winners again.
Absolutely. Great gaming out there.
Okay, we will get back to normal scheduled program. We have one more weird diversion. If you listen to the end of the last episode, and this ties into a kid's story, actually. It's why I kind of brought it up. But I hinted at a terrible childhood memory of me that involved an awful song that upset me so to my core that involved chicken soup.
Yes, you left us on a cliffhanger, and it's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, we had tech difficulties last week, so we're actually like 2 weeks out. So Jeff has just been stewing on.
I really want to know. Yes, stewing.
So I had a similar thing. I had a similar situation with my kids, and it reminded me of an old story involving my brother and my cousin when visiting another province and their house. And somehow, in some way, they came up with a song that they would just continually sing the entire time of the visit. And I can't describe how angry and upset and crying I was.
Oh, no.
I mean, it didn't make any sense. It had nothing to do with me. And there's nothing even offensive about it.
Okay.
But somehow, like, the little limerick just got it. It's like, what was that? It's like, Trevor, he's full of chicken soup. That is it.
That's it.
That is it on repeat for like a
Oh,
week of being at this place, and I would get fear. Like I just imagine tiny. I would have been somewhere like 5, 6, just sitting there like shaking with rage. I got so
wow.
angry. The tea's full of
The
chicken soup. That was it. Chicken soup. Like that's what got me so angry. I couldn't believe. Now the modern day version of this. The reason I brought it up was it's curious to see how similar type of things start to play out with your kids because my oldest comes in and he's upset, like just
oh, okay.
furious.
Yeah.
And it was very much the same thing. So like some local boys, and I think probably the younger brother too, had put together some sort of song, or he was saying this thing. And it really upset me. It really got me mad,
Yeah.
right? And it's funny how that kind of works with kids, where they can just find that edge in, like
Oh,
get that first stab, in, and they just like push it
definitely.
further.
You find that red button. That's your mission in life. Once you find that, it's game over for the other. So yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
That's funny that you say button because that's exactly how I'm trying to describe it to him. I think the metaphor is too advanced in some ways. It's the larger one is just you can't give that control to someone else. Like if you're gonna let yourself be so easily upset, it's not that look you're going to be upset. That's fine. You're allowed to be upset. Feel those feelings.
Hmm.
Fine. But you got to guard yourself in a sense that if you're just going to let other people be so easily able to manipulate you to make you angry, that's bad. Like that's letting someone else ruin your good time. And as I try to explain, it's like giving them a button that anytime they push, they can just make you upset.
Right.
Why would you ever give someone that button? Like, why on earth would you give someone that kind of power over you? So try to like shield yourself a bit,
Yeah.
right?
Well, absolutely. Like again, my last name is Smalley. I'm a small person. It's not hard to go and connect the two, right? But I just made
I've never thought of it, Jeff.
I made the best of it, and that's just what my name was through elementary and high school. And people like there were far too many Jeffs in the class, and they just called me by my last name. Didn't think anything of it because I wouldn't let them have that power, right? Or I'd laugh along with them. I'd be like, I've heard that one before. Make something new. Like, come on, be creative, right? So,
Yeah, that it's a easy advice to give, difficult advice to live by, for
mhm.
sure. It's just like, oh, just don't be upset when people mock you in some way.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is hard.
thanks, great.
Yeah, thanks
I
for that.
never thought of it like that.
Cheer
Thanks,
up.
man.
Oh,
But at least I was trying to explain to that like this: if you can't, if something is going to make you upset, you have to find a way to handle it in such a way that it doesn't give them easy license to just like pull that trigger at any time that they want.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
So I'm just trying to find it that way. So, but as soon as he did that, like I had to explain my wife that story. And she was just like, "What? Chicken soup? What are you
this,
mental?
this is my deep trauma. I'm sharing it with you.
Did you eat chicken soup? Or like, where did it even come from?" I was like, "I have no idea. I can't even tell you."
It's bonkers. I don't know either. It's
These
great though.
full
I know
chicken soup.
your secrets.
Now, this all relates to good times on the playground and something our kids are back to experiencing given that they've gone back to school. They've been there for a few couple weeks, and it'd be a good time. I want to check in with you.
Yeah.
What has the game time withdrawal been like? Because they've gone from freewheeling, summer's easy, whole lot of games to
Yeah.
sitting in class and being structured. So what's the situation at the Smalley household?
Well, for we just had 1 week of school, and I'm exhausted. I don't know about the kids, but it has been a lot to rebound from. Game time, like you said, in summer it was just a free for all for them. We were too busy with work to really kind of manage it, and we kind of let them have it. I'm scared to look at the Microsoft Family Safety account because you can see all the hours they put in. Like I don't even want to look
Yeah.
at it. I can see it, but what we had through school in this first week wasn't working with the same as summer, and there was that withdrawal, and they were getting pretty testy and upset, and they didn't want to do their laundry again. They didn't want to do basic chores. They were kind of being mean to each other. They wouldn't come down for supper in a like, in a way that made sense. They would come down all crabby. So we decided to extend with their help. Like again, I think I've talked on the show like how we want to involve our kids with the solution. We don't want to like install something because then they're going to be, crabby at us. So we extended the school routine into gaming. We said, okay, like school days, there's blocks of times where you have subjects, recess, all that stuff. So you make a schedule for after school and the weekends, and you block out those times when you are gaming and when you're outside and when you're getting ready for bed. etc. And you pick the blocks of time, and that's what it is. So
Nice.
that block of time, and that's when you game, so you know when it starts, and you tell your friends you're able to play, so you can coordinate. So we're gonna try this out because what we
Excellent.
had before wasn't working. It wasn't working at all.
So when you started the first few days, was it just no games, or was it still okay? Let's try to let you play not as much as
It
you want, but
was
like a more generous amount.
it was let's see how you do with managing it and just let you kind of see where gaming fits in after a full day of school. And it wasn't working. It wasn't happening. They again were in moods. Everybody was kind of on edge and they would pick at each other and stuff. So we just said, you know what? It's not working for us. We don't want to be mad at you. You guys want to be mad at us. So let's come up with a solution and we're going to try this out and then see where it goes. At least it's something to kind of look at. And they're used to it. Like it's a routine, right? So it might be a little bit easier to fly by than, you're given 2 hours and you kind of make do, right? So we'll see. I'm
Let's keep it
hopeful, but
going.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I
How
did.
about
I
you
like
though?
the involving them too. So it's like these are the hours, and you can like place them as you will, but like
Yeah.
you will stick to them and notice that there is limited quantities of certain hours. It's not just grab game time, drag for the 8 hours of the
Exactly.
day. Like,
We that was the first draft though. I'm not saying it didn't happen. We did go through 3 drafts of this kind of time thing because they did just block out gaming for the entire night and then like
oh
half
my
an hour
god,
of eating. Like literally they cut because we
it's
had
good.
like hour blocks and they cut it in
Yeah,
half and put eating. I'm like 30 minutes? You're gonna 30 minutes and you're just gonna run upstairs again? No.
that's so good. Oh, bless them for trying. That's
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the place where we got is they transitioned surprisingly well because like you, much the same with you. Like it was just difficult to manage in the summer, especially because we didn't have any camps or any after school. Like there's still
Mm-mm.
kind of a post-COVID. Not all the old programs are back online still, so we're
Yep.
finding a kind of a great gulf between what they can do. So it was much more gaming than maybe we would have expected. However, uh, fairly like none as far after school type of thing. However, there was the carrot of okay, you can have like 30 minutes of Minecraft, and always Minecraft specifically because it's
Yeah.
at least borderline educational, creative, interesting. But it's after they read 3 French books and they do some math.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like you can do it, but you're gonna like do the homework that you have to do and like improve yourself for it.
Yep.
And that's gone pretty good. Like it's gone. We're 2 weeks in here, and that's gone pretty smoothly. So I think it's still kind of it's a weird transition time, right? From like just freewheeling summer into back to school.
Yeah, and that's something we recognize too when we're kind of talking to them. Like, this is quite a change, right? And again, like you were saying, they were not in camps or anything like that with the COVID kind of still lingering. So to go from like, I can do whatever I want, mom and dad don't care because they're super busy and exhausted, to like, oh my God, I have to pare all this down. So we'll see. It's good that we're trying 2 different strategies because maybe we could just swap stories next week and be like, you know what?
It's
This
just
isn't
like,
working, Trevor. Never try this.
is that working here either? It's pure chaos. Jeff, save
Yeah. Chicken soup. Chicken.
chickens. Chickens. Yeah. We started just making fun of my kids. It's terrible. They'll never eat chicken
Yeah.
soup again. Now, if any other gaming dads, of course, have strategies, we'd love to hear from you. Hit us on our Twitter at New Dad Gaming for the way you're handling the game transition from summertime to school time. It's a rough
Yes.
one. Now, the kids, as much as they would like to play gaming, they were watching a fair amount of like YouTube when they can. And we do our best to shut it down.
Yeah.
We really don't like watching it, but even still, it's just they're so drawn to it. We tried some of the kids' versions of it. And this I had no clue of. And you have your kids. My kids bounced off of Roblox.
Hmm.
We found it fairly complicated to get into. They couldn't quite get it, but they certainly like it, especially from watching it on YouTube.
Right.
And what they've found, like I was watching this one video of it, and it's just a pure Roblox horror
Oh,
game.
fun.
And it's a whole genre. There's like 4 or 5 of these things, but this one in particular was like Rainbow Friends, which is what would it be called? There's 4 or 5 like new like fuzzy characters that like chase you, but like imagine some huge large character like
Oh God.
I don't
It's like Friday Night at Freddy's. Is that what it kind of looks like that?
Yeah, a little bit like that, or like Hello Neighbor, but just like with these big,
Yes.
huge, cutesy characters, but built entirely in Roblox. It is impressive that somebody has built this thing, and it's just taken off. So at this
Mhm.
point now, like what our kids are watching, they're still adjacent to Roblox, like almost wanting to get in, but we haven't really figured out how to navigate them for it.
Yeah.
But now that and they're playing this new horror game version of it. Now your kids were deeper in Roblox. Had they gotten into this type of genre before, or what's been like the recent kind of swing with Roblox?
Yeah, much like yours, they were watching a bunch of YouTube videos and they kind of go through these Roblox genres and they hit one horror game called Doors.
Doors.
So my 9-year-old's like, it's not scary, Dad. It's not scary, whatever. Right? And I'm like, no, no, we're not watching this because it is a very intense game and it's about running from something. So, like a
Mm-hmm.
creature that's not this fluffy character or anything, it's just like this ghost. And you have to run with your friends. And when there's like a countdown timer or something, you have to hide in a door. Like, so you have to open
Mm-hmm.
a door. Some of the doors are locked, some of the doors jump scare you, some of the doors have timers on them so you can hide from this character, but then after the timer hits you have to get out and run again, and it goes all the way up to like door 99 or something. And my 12-year-old's playing this game with all his friends, and I'm
Oh,
like,
oh,
oh my god, like this doesn't look like a Roblox game. Like it looks pretty intense. And I asked him, are you sure you can handle this? Because we've had nightmares in the past about
mm,
certain, again, YouTube videos on Roblox horror games. He's like, no, no, I'm fine. I'm with my friends. So part of me says, like, he would never have played this if it weren't for his friends. So now I'm
mm.
noticing all that peer pressure already. I'm like, oh God, we're going to get into games that he can't handle. And, we're going to be up at night with him. But so far he's been handling it. We've kind of given
Okay.
him, like, a boundary to
Okay.
say, okay, well, let's play this downstairs where we can see it, kind of thing, versus up in your room at the closed door
Right.
and the lights
Yeah.
off.
In the dark. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty intense what these games can do now. I don't know about you. Like when you look at these things, I'm like, oh, I just expected Minecraft in a fun environment, but it's
I
not.
think it's. I just think it's deceptive because it's. There's something more creepy about it because it's so crude and janky. It's a lot like you'll remember that Resident Evil 1, right?
Hmm.
One of the reasons it was so horrifying was how terrible it was to control the character,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like
Absolutely.
like if it was a big cool big bang like roll all over the place, have 1,000 bullets, shoot 'em up,
Yeah.
whatever, zombies fine, but like it was so difficult to turn your character and then have the gun and like it was awful. So when something was coming at you, like your ability to take care of them was vastly diminished. I kind of get those vibes with
Yeah.
this type of game because it's so janky, it's so crudely animated. Like it just ends up being like the character will glitch and all of a sudden be staring at you, and that's like
That.
terrifying as far as this
Yeah.
game goes.
Absolutely. And these are all like user created. So you get even more of that jank, right? Like that quality control is out the window. It's just like these things can like
It's like
properly scare you.
oh,
So yeah, I'm with you on this. But now I'm thinking about like my 12-year-old's playing this probably fine. If I was playing Resident Evil at its age and Quake and Doom, and like, am I old now? Am I saying, "Well, don't play that. You're scare yourself." That's what I go to now. That's what I go to. And like, he could be playing a lot more scary games than this thing. Like, there's a lot more
yeah,
realistic ones out there than Roblox.
yeah. Well,
Even
we
though
were
they're
looking at like
watching.
the Doors one, the 99 Doors one. I hadn't heard of it until you and I talked, and that's like I don't want to say triple A, but it is some like very well done graphics, and
It
the
is.
mood is set. The mood is set very effectively. So
Yes.
it's getting into a weird world. It's good to know about it though, because again, like Roblox, these fun kind of blocky
Yeah.
characters and playing with your friend. What could go wrong? Like it's really good for dads to be aware of the kind of games that are on this right now, because I don't think you would expect if you bought your son a card of Roblox or grandma buys your son the thing of Roblox saying, "Oh, go play with your fun friends on this blocky world. It must be like Minecraft, right?" And then you find
Yeah.
out they're doing this type of stuff. Ugh.
Yeah. I think all gaming dads should know that Roblox is a platform, and there's many other games in there that you need to like
Yeah.
just pay attention to.
And there's not a lot of moderation, and people are creating
Mm-mm.
a whole lot of stuff.
Exactly.
Let's go back to some other games, some AAA games, some games that we love, and games that we were kind of calling home games. And this comes from both of us kind of circling back around to kind of comfort games, or what we're
Yeah.
calling kind of like your home game. Like this is the game I can always return to and go back and have an awesome time. And for me, it was Elite Dangerous. So I've gotten back into Elite Dangerous. I'm back in space, Jeff. Absolutely loving it. Like it's so, it's so very good. I think what I was looking for is, again, I have a vision of having a game that is always installed. I always have a count on the run, and I can always kind of just like dip into it and continually make progress in that game. Like that's going to be my home base. For some people, maybe that's Fortnite. For some people, maybe that's Call of Duty. Wherever you do land. But Elite Dangerous for me really feels like it. And they had this awesome sale on the latest expansion. It was like $20, and I already own the base game, so it's like off we go. And they've added space legs, so you can walk around. You can have like gunfights now in space. So it's even expanded even further.
Nice.
So it's been fantastic. And the best part is like it ends up being like space trucking. I'm doing a lot of trading. They have these new modules where you can actually just tell your ship to like fly itself. The sandbox. So they have one mode. You can pay someone to fly you someplace, but they also have like Super Cruise Assist, so it even like just helps you get there.
You're just
And what
Amazon in space. Look at you, just like, you know what my home game is? The vastness and vacuum of space where no one makes a sound, and I could just chill out on the bridge of my spaceship, delivering packages.
And I'm watching shows like I finally got into, because it. And I'll say this with every endearment, and I love this game and I keep playing it.
Yeah.
There's some parts of it that are boring. So boring, it's good to have a show on the go that you can pay attention to. So I finally got into The Expanse.
Nice, yeah,
which is super suiting because it's a big old space genre. It's amazing. So I'm watching The Expanse. I'm doing my space trucking. I'm making all these credits, flying these huge ships with cargo through space. It is awesome. But I mean, like
you've immersed yourself in this sci-fi world. You're just it's dad.
Yeah, it's like you go on the road with your Cybertruck, and you got a good 8 hour spiel before you get to the next stop. So you got to like go on your phone or watch others type something else. It's been fantastic. I think I can't be alone because there is the entire simulator genre, trucking simulator, farming simulator, whatever, that involves some degrees of boredom, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But beyond that, like the thing I did want to talk about, like that ends up being my home game. Like that's where I keep arriving, and I think it's a phenomenal candidate for me when I think about hours played and enjoyment of where it's the game where I'll rest my hat while I go to play other games. And I guess the question was like I'd love to hear from other gaming dads which ones. What game is there a game that you've been able to identify that you hang your hat? This will be the one that's always on standby when you just need a night of gaming. But what would it be for you, do you think? Do you have one there besides Witcher 3?
Yeah, besides Witcher 3. Again, Final Fantasy 14 is something that I always circle back to, even if it's just for a little bit. And this thing is a whole MMO RPG, so it's all online or whatever. I don't really go into the online elements of it. I don't really like people out there. And with the schedule of Gaming Dad, it's very hard. Like, I can't do that. We've talked about it. I can't hook up with crews and do a raid or a duty in this, is what it's called. But now the Square has gone back and put in a single player element, so they'll have AI companions for you to do this stuff. And this is one of those games where it's like, it's a fantastic story, a fantastic world, and it's just that multiplayer element, the MMO part of it. I'm like, I don't really want to. But I always come back to it, and I've reinstalled it again, and I've kind of booted it back up with this new patch that they've allowed more single-player stuff. So now I'm back in Final Fantasy 14. Again, all free up to a certain level, and then we'll see. I don't know. I'll never reach their top tier. I mean, gaming dads can only go so far. But it's like one of those ones that I just kind of live in, and it's this sprawling world, and I'll just be nice and comfy here. It's not It's not a space sim, but I'll ride my chocobo and fly through the air and stuff.
Now, have you ever ventured out to try to find a guild that would maybe suit you? Because I did bury something in that I did join a squadron.
Did you really? Okay.
You want to know the name of the squadron?
What is the name?
The Fatherhood. Thank you very much.
Amazing.
The Fatherhood is a large community-focused group for all the elite dangerous pilots out there who schedule their gaming time around their families or careers. Dads, mums, husbands, wives, busy career professionals. You'll find a home with us. So,
Perfect.
so I log it's one of the top ones. So I was going on this external site that lists all the factions that you can join, and number one, the first one's like the Fatherhood. I'm like, go on.
Yeah.
And immediately, so it's amazing. So if I want, so I'm now part of this faction. I'm in game in this faction, so I can like wing up with other people. We have a home base. Like there's a whole bunch of stars at this faction. The factions in game can actually take over and have influence over particular sectors or stars or starports. Okay. So there's like a home base that we have. That's pretty cool, and like you can join up with other people for mission from within the faction. And the very foundation of it is that okay, we are busy people.
Yeah,
either from parenthood, from fatherhood, or just career. That like, look, you can't grind all the time, but if you want to hop in for a game, like get into it. Now I've not contacted any of these people. I haven't got into that part of it yet. But it's just like I just adore like getting logged in. Hey, what does exist that I could get into? Number one was the fatherhood, and it's how perfect. How perfect. Now, have you ever looked into like a faction or like a guild that might be kind of parenthood?
No,
focused?
But now I'm thinking I should, and if there's nothing out there, start one. I mean, I think that would cost the subscription to get this going, but I mean, if you started one called the Fatherhood or something in Final Fantasy 14, I think a lot of people would be on board. Again, it's the same kind of thing where I don't have all this time. I can't devote like a 2-hour play session. We can get in, get out, get some experience points, upgrade our stuff, and get on with our lives. That's great. I think that's perfect. So I will go and search for some sort of guild on Final Fantasy 14 where maybe there's a fatherhood type foundation.
Yes. Trying to look at this really quickly.
Support the players. So
yeah, I was looking really quickly to see if there's like a guild that came out that was related for dads, but I don't think so.
I mean, I can start one. There you go. This is the birth of a new guild.
Yeah. There's something about something called dads right away. The Dads of Light. Oh, here we go.
See, that could work.
Dads of Light. Okay. Hi guys, Final Fantasy 14 Dad of Light just got released on. Oh, never mind. All right.
Oh.
Less fun. Nothing like the fatherhood in space.
I'm gonna go look out for it. I'll let you know. I'll report back if I find anything. That's a good idea, though.
Okay. Now, one of the places, a system that could, Jeff, really enable you to play a lot more Final Fantasy would be a Steam Deck. To listeners not in the know, Jeff currently sits on a reservation for a Steam Deck. And when Gabe brings up Jeff's name, it's like, oh, Mr. Smalley, would you care for a Steam Deck? You will have to have an answer. And that date continues to get closer and closer to us. So where are you currently standing with your pending decision on the Steam Deck?
Okay, so I still don't know entirely, but
it could happen tomorrow, technically.
It could. Yeah, just Gabe's there with like a stock ticker. He's like, oh, Jeff is up next, and what does he say? But I've researched a couple of just what games are you can play on this thing, and again, just the comfort of playing from couches. I'm all about that now. Final Fantasy 14 plays on this thing, and you can keybind everything. Like, everything is customizable. I'm like, oh no. So, again, my comfort game, my home game, I can play on the go, portably, wherever I want, and just get in, get out. So that is swaying me. I'm not entirely sure, because it's still quite a price point to get in there, but that would totally be, that would be it. That would be the one.
Whew,
to go in there.
That's an anniversary present. That's a birthday present. That's a Christmas present.
2022 present. How about that? Just pandemic present.
And you have to return all the other presents too, just to You
Yeah,
have to get that money back.
if anyone has any leftover Steam cards, feel free just to DM us.
All right, we're gonna check every week just to see where you end up on, like, until you finally get
Yeah.
that call, because it's going to happen.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna have to, make a quick decision.
Off you go. All right, everybody, that will wrap it up for the week. Thank you so much for listening to New Dad Gaming. If you yourself have a home comfort game, we'd love to hear about it. Like, what game do you always return to and kind of hang your hat on, return home to? Do you have a pumpkin beer suggestion? Jeff, how does yours end up? Like, the contortion of your face did lessen.
It did go away. It did
Yeah.
go away. I will say this one turned out after drinking 3/4 of the can. It's not bad now. Again, that's
All
Theater
right.
of Madness. First hit, no. But
That's
as
a
you
lot.
get going, it's good.
It's a lot of that first taste, but if you can
Yeah.
if you can survive that, you can survive the rest. Very good. I'm really liking this. Like, again, I don't know that I would. It's more if I ever saw it at a. You go to some sort of festival and they had it there. Oh, that one's really good. I'll have that. That's
Right.
interesting. Probably not going to
go-
buy it
No.
compared to like other ones, but excellent. Really, really happy that turned out. Man, that Oast House, man, always good for a time. But hey, gaming dads, do you have a recommendation? We'd love to hear it. Do you want to join me in space in Elite Dangerous on the Fatherhood, or join Jeff in his new Fatherhood Guild on Final Fantasy 11? We'd love to hear you for all of these things. You can find us at our Twitter at NewDadGaming or our website newdadgaming.com. Did you like the podcast? A subscription would help us out greatly. You can find us on all the major podcasting networks. So we're talking about iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Caster, anywhere where you get your podcast. Just search for New Dad Gaming and subscribe. What really helps, if you haven't done so yet, or you're new to the podcast, welcome. But one of the things that really, really helps out the show is a ranking. If you do rate it and leave a comment, it vastly boosts the signal of the show, and we get it to as many new gaming dads as possible. So we thank you so much for that. But we'll wrap it up for the week, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old, a 9-year-old, and maybe a chocobo sitting in Final Fantasy 14.
Sitting in a Steam Deck.
That's right, sitting in a Steam
Chocobo.
Deck. Perfect. The
He's
staple.
full of... Jeff's full of chocobo.
Chocobo.
All right, everyone. Remember, just because you became a dad.
Does not mean it's game over.
All right. Cheers.
Right. See you later.